give fans an idea of what your role has been and the purpose of you being in Austria with the first team squad.
Well, I think, prior to me joining, Stuart had mentioned, obviously, this being a big opportunity for me as academy manager to get to know the manager, the staff, the players, because I think you always have to have a real feeling for the way that they work, they operate, and maybe some of the pressures of and how they like to do things. So I think what this has given me the last 3 or 4 days is that time to obviously spend time with them and see how I can help.
Obviously, seeing the methods of David and the first team squad firsthand must be vital to you when you're building that academy coaching plan for not just this season but seasons going forward.
Yeah, I think in terms of watching the training, talking to David and Christoph and Andy, I think it's how you adapt. They're here with 27 players. Our coaches won't work with 27 players. They'll work with, it could be 12, it could be 14, it could be 16. How we adapt the philosophy in the training all the way through to make sure that we're on the same hymn sheet, and how we devise those sessions with smaller numbers and obviously with younger age groups. So, I mean, that's been a real benefit, and the chats that we have, obviously, when you're around and you have quiet time, when you can sort of pick each other's brains and see which way we're going is obviously vitally important.
Yeah, I was driven by all of us. We felt the opportunity to come out here where it's just constant work. There's constant opportunities to meet. There's not, maybe the 100-mile-an-hour stuff which goes on if you stay back at the football club, and for Steve, he's had an opportunity to see some of our real sort of higher level tactical work. So when he goes back and when David's talking about the different concepts of our game, certainly from a tactical point of view, he's got a real clear picture of what that looks like from a practical coaching point of view, as opposed to talking about it in the classroom. So an opportunity for Steve to watch all the video meetings which go on with the players. So again, he goes back, and when he's then educating our coaches further down, he's got a real clear idea of what the Terriers' identity is and how then to do it from a practical point of view. Now, obviously for Steve, he's got to filter that down to the younger age groups. What a first team player does and what an under 12 player does is different, but the concepts are similar and the philosophy's the same. It's just how he then sort of waters it down.
Steve's job's important, that he has to coach the coaches as well as to David's methods, not just the players. It's almost their job to do the players. He's got to teach the coaches how to employ the Terriers' identity.
Absolutely. A big part of bringing Steve here is, he's a pro licensed coach. He's also has a coach education background, and that is vital. We've got some good coaches within the academy. We've got some hungry coaches who are desperate to learn, but they need someone to teach off. That person isn't going to be David Wagner or Christoph Bühler or Andy Hughes, because that's not their job to do that every day. Whereas Steve, that is his job, and he can do that. I think the other important thing about him coming here, we've brought some young players, is to really see how do they interact with the first team, how is the step up, what is a gap in the level, if there is a gap, what is a gap from a physical point of view. So again, he goes back with more evidence when he goes back to the club and goes, right, we have to work this player on X, Y or Z, because I've witnessed in the first team that's maybe where he's slightly short.
Clearly, if you've got an under 12 group, it's not just a case of copying what these guys do. You've got to adapt it to the group sizes and to what the lads are capable of as well.
Yeah, no, and that's the reason why I'm here. I mean, I think, to be fair, my relationship with the management in terms of them having confidence and trust in what the academy are doing is vital, and this week's all about that. And then obviously we talk through certain parts of it. And in terms of the training, I mean, one of probably the reasons I was brought in is that my ability to adapt the philosophy of the club and the way it wants to go forward. And it's not a philosophy just of David. I think it's a philosophy that the club want to take forward for for many years. So. In terms of that, obviously there is, I call it a watering down sort of thing. But a lot of the basic elements of it are all the way through from probably our pre-academy at 7. So you'd be surprised at some of the knowledge you gain at that age is just as important as you do in this age.
How different are David's methods to your methods? Obviously, you've got a long coaching career, Steve, and there's been a lot made of the change that David has brought about at first team level here. But are the fundamentals the same? Are they quite different?
I think with all the managers that I've worked with, they're all very similar. I think the best managers I've worked with have a way of playing, and they stick to it. And even under pressure, they have a real belief in the way that they play, and generally they come out of it. So if they have a few, bad results, they come out to their end. I think the role of the academy manager is to ensure that they understand it. not go against it. They understand it and realise, right, this is what we have to do to try and get players in the first team, and realise that we've all got to follow on one line to get them in there. I think the problem sometimes you get is maybe when the academy don't believe in what the first team are doing, I think, and that's not my job. My job is to ensure that we get that right and we have it all the way through. And in terms of philosophies, I think I don't know many coaches that don't want to play good, attractive football with it, and get 25 shots a game and keep clean sheets. I think very similar. The other thing is, in my role is that I'm here to support the manager. I'm not here to build anything other than, so if whatever he wants, whatever he needs, we ensure that he gets the best of everything that we can provide, really. So if he needs support from the academy with staff, or he needs support from players, my job's to push those players and put people in front of David so that we have every opportunity to success. So if a staff member moves up or if it's a player moves up. I mean, in terms of the academy, it's been a great pre-season. One, in terms of me getting to know the senior staff, but also, I mean, the exposure that Jordan and Raquel have had. I mean, Raquel played half against Werder Bremen, who's played against Liverpool. And Jordan's been exposed from day one, really. Probably done his pre-season with the first team rather than us. So, as an academy, we can't ask for any more than that.
You talked there about trusting the academy. Is it important to build a personal relationship? We focused a lot on the coaching and the philosophies, but in terms of that trust, and if you go to David one day and say player X is ready and needs a little taste here, that he knows you've got a good eye for it, he knows you, and he goes, yeah, no problem, Steve.
Well, I think just not just me and David, but I think myself and Christoph, Stuart, Andy, we're all on the medical team. Is that you're all. I just think in life maybe that's probably a thing where everyone trusts you and thinks you're okay or you're a good guy. I think from that, then the knowledge of asking about your opinions. And I've been fortunate here during training. When you sat on the side of the pitch, Christoph comes over and says, "What do you think about that? You was sat up in the stand. What did you see there?" And then when you give an informed view, maybe coming from a little bit of experience working around the Championship and the Premier League, that it gives you that. So. And I think from an opinion point of view, then you get a little bit of trust in terms of the management team going, actually, oh yeah, see where he's coming from. I'm not sure I would do that, but I get that. That might be interesting for us in the future. So maybe I come from a different angle. I've worked with different people. I've maybe been around it longer, and I think you get trust from. I think people trying to help as well. Giving informed opinions. So it's a good start for us. It's a good start for the academy, and obviously a good start for myself. So it's gone well so far.
Everyone at the club is under pressure for this academy to produce, and to produce quickly. I think it's easy to talk about, the under-12s are great. In 6 years' time, that's a long wait for us in our football club, when it's already been waiting quite a long time. And we all know and we all respect that. But what we have to do, and do everything we can, is to bridge that gap as quickly as we can to get this academy producing, so we can keep it going, and then hopefully we can then make it flourish, and we can become the best academy we can be. I think in youth development, a lot of people talk about lack of opportunities, and that's the biggest bugbear of any person who ever worked in youth development. I think here, what there is hopefully now starting to be is an opportunity. At the end of the day, the player has to take that opportunity, the staff member has to take that opportunity. All we can do is open the door. But I think hopefully this pre-season, people are already seeing a real step change in, nope, if you're good enough, you'll get an opportunity to showcase it. Now, you might not be good enough to take that opportunity, and that's why there's lots of different leagues, so different players can go and play at different leagues. But one thing they will get here is an opportunity.
We talk about opportunities for players. Ultimately, the player has to be good enough, but we've got a head coach in place in David Wagner that one of the reasons he was appointed to the club is that he's got a track record of giving talented young footballers an opportunity at first team level.
Absolutely. The easiest thing to do this year would have been to go and sign a young right back or another right back, because everyone knows we've got Tommy Smith and then we've got Cranes who can help us there. But we haven't, because we've got the emergence of young Jordan Williams, and I think one of the reasons we appointed David, and there's lots of reasons, first of all, he's a top head coach, but he's got a background in youth development, and he genuinely wants to play young players. He's given Phil Billing the number 8 shirt. What a vote of confidence for a lad who's just turned 20. We've signed some more young players this summer. So again, if they're good enough, he wants to play them, because he's a coach who, that's his history. He actually doesn't know anything else. He hasn't got the old cliche of, I need 500 games on the pitch in our midfield or our right back. He's like, well, no, if he's good enough, I'll pick him.
I think we go back. I know now the way David works, so I can translate that to all the coaches. He's very open, and I think I'll be encouraging my staff to actually get more involved in it. You know, be around, watch, ask questions. David's very open to that, and I think sometimes you can separate yourself from the first team. I think that can't be. It's got to be inclusive for us to get debuts, and you have to work to get debuts. It's not easy. You know, it's not just a case of a good player. You have to instill that confidence in a management team that go, I'm saying he's worth a chance, and if they trust you, at some stage you might just get that opportunity. So I'll take that back really, and the fact that, you know, everyone knows my name now, everyone's walking around going, right, Weaves out morning, and you know, so I think that's really important. Otherwise you're only just not to say passing, you know, they'll know who you are and what you do, but they have no feel for you as a person, and I think in any football club it needs to be a bit more personable.